In this video, we're going to take a look at how you can manage payments with Workshop Angel. So in the last lesson, we added 5 attendees to the yoga retreat activity. And you may recall that in the payments tab here under the booking section, we actually had 3 bookings listed because there were 3 individual bookings made, but 2 of them for Norbert and Petra were made with 2 attendees on each booking. So first, what we want to do is just go and have a look at the messages that were actually sent out to the different attendees with regards to their payment. And we can do that by going to the messages area, and the first section that comes up is messages sent. And we get the messages that have been sent out, the most recent ones listed here on the left hand side, and the option to search for various messages up here at the top. So we're currently highlighting the first payment message that went out, which was the one to Percy, and he paid by card. So he received a payment received message, which is telling him that we've received his payment, €140 for attendance at our yoga retreat. The next payment related one that went out was to Petra. Now, Petra, you may recall, she chose to pay by bank transfer rather than to pay by card. So we've sent her a payment due email, reminding her that this payment is due for €248. It's due in 3 days' time. And down here at the bottom, it lists how she can pay. So there's 2 options. One is for her to choose to pay by card if she'd like to do that, or to pay by bank transfer with the details that you will have set up in your settings for Workshop Angel. Similarly then, also for Norbert, he also chose to pay by his deposit by bank transfer, so he has a very similar message, just with a different amount. So that's the messaging part. So let's now go over back to the bookings and payments area. So let's assume now we're a day or 2 later and we've checked in our bank account. And let's assume that we've received a payment from Petra. So how would we go about recording that as a bank transfer payment? So we'd come to the booking payments area, and against Petra's reference for her booking, there's an option here called add payment. So if we click on that, that then brings up an add or edit payment window. You can see it's been pre-populated with Petra's name. You can choose a variety of different payment methods, but it's defaulted here to bank transfer. It's defaulted to today's date, but you could change that if she paid on a slightly different day. And then we can enter the amount that she paid. Now, Petra, tell you what, let's just close this window and remind ourselves how much Petra actually owed. So she owed €248. So let's go back into that window. So let's assume she actually paid us the €248. Now, you may recall that this activity is actually based in euros, but we're assuming that our business is based in pounds. We just wanted to demonstrate to you here the ability to deal with different currencies amongst the other options Workshop Angel has. So if you're dealing in a different currency, you need to enter how much you received in your own currency, which is the amount you would see in your, in this example, pound-based bank account. So because this is an example, we can make that amount up. So let's say we received £222 for her payment into the account of €248. So if we now hit create payment, that then records the payment in the system. The next box that appears here is the box which tells us the status of this payment, and it's telling us that this payment has been fully allocated to invoices. So we get the idea that an individual payment is associated with or allocated to an invoice, and we can think from the point of view of where we're at with Learning Workshop Angel that an invoice and a booking are the same thing. So it's been fully allocated to a booking, and it then shows us the details of which booking it's been allocated to. and it's been allocated to the attendants at the yoga retreat for Petra and Penelope. So it's allocated the full €248 to that, and it's shown us that there's still 100 and it's a big number, €1,992 left to pay on that invoice at a later date. Having recorded this payment, we'd now also like to send Petra an email saying that we've received it. So this next section down here is about sending that email. By default, when we press the close window button down here, then we will automatically, or the app will automatically send Petra a payment received message. There may be a few occasions where you don't want that to happen, and you can set this option to not send it if necessary. But we'll close that window, and what we find now is that Petra, like Norman, had been showing this status, this payment status of due, because the payment was due in 3 days' time. But now we've recorded the payment, the status has gone to OK. It's shown that the next payment due is that large amount, €1,992, which isn't due for another 159 days. So as we record today, that's on the 6th of September. And over here in payments, it's showing the payment of €248, which she's paid today. So we can also go to messages and messages sent. And if we refresh this list, we can now see there's a payment received message went out to Petra. And if we click on that, it says, just to let you know, we've received your payment of €248. So that, in a nutshell, is the process you go through in order to record a non-card payment. And it's a little bit more detail about how payments relate to bookings or invoices within the system. So we've also looked at this idea of allocation, so the idea that the payment is allocated to an invoice. And in fact, there are lots and lots of functions for dealing with finances in Workshop Angel, and for dealing with changes to workshops and maybe different ways people decide they want to pay and you allow them to pay after they've actually made their booking. And you can see in the Managing Finances section of the documentation all the fine details of how to work with those functions. And those functions are really powerful abilities to help your business run really smoothly. So that's it for this video. In the next one, we're going to look in some detail at sending the attendees messages about the details of your activity.